Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Using the Morale and Team Building Toolkit for Victim Assistance Programs funded by the New York State Office of Victim Services. This meeting will be presented by Jenny and Alan from our TTARP program at JA Strategies and Krieger Solutions. My name is Rachel Gentili, and I am a program outreach specialist in the training and outreach unit at OVS. And welcome. I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items before I pass it to Blake, who will then pass it on to our presenters for today. The first thing I want to talk about is accommodation services. For today, we do have a CART live transcriber. Live captioning is viewable in the multimedia viewer. What gets a little bit tricky is that everybody's view is slightly different, but on my screen, it's along the right underneath the participants chat. There's a multimedia viewer. You can change the size and the style of the font for this to suit your needs. You can also pop this out and arrange it on your screen in a way that best suits you. If you cannot see the multimedia viewer, please go to View, Panels, Manage Panels, and Add Multimedia Viewer Panel. Some of you may say, I see something, but nothing's showing up. There's a one of those crazy danger exclamation point triangles on my screen that says there's an external site. That is the multimedia viewer. You can feel safe to click the blue continue button, and that will bring up the live transcription services. If you are having trouble hearing this meeting, you have maybe joined on your computer, but you can't hear anything, you have to access the audio as well. So to access the audio for this meeting, you can dial in. The dial-in information is on the screen. I will also read it out loud. The phone number is 518-549-0500, and the access code is 185-496-8707. Accessing the chat feature. This is a webinar, so we're not able to chat freely with one another via voice, but you can use the chat function to communicate with us. Now, once again, technology is always evolving, so your screen may look a little different. I know mine was different this morning, as apparently an update had happened overnight. But either, if you move your cursor, you may see some bubbles, and there's a little chat bubble. It may be gray. If it's gray, click it, it will turn blue, and that will open up the chat panel. You may also see that there's a gray bar along the bottom of your screen. And if you go all the way to the right, you may see a chat button, and click there, and you'll be able to access the chat feature. Please make sure as you're chatting, you chat to all panelists. I know often it's defaulted just to the host or the host and presenter. There are many of us monitoring the chat because we'll be passing back and forth our presenting today. So it is best if you message all panelists. That will allow us to make sure that we see it and address your question or comment. The last thing for me today is slides for this webinar. So if you registered before about 3:45 yesterday, the slides for this webinar were emailed to all attendees. If you registered after or you didn't get that email, Blake is going to share a link to these slides in the chat right now. And without further ado, I will pass it over to Blake. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rachel. The slides, link to the slides is in the chat. Also later on today too, we will actually share a link to the toolkit as well. So stay tuned for some of that. Like Rachel said, I'm Blake. I'm the Director of Training and Outreach at OVS, and welcome to using the Morale and Team Building Toolkit webinar. Earlier this year, our partners from the OVS Training and Technical Assistance Request Program, or TTARP, Jenny Amsuits and Alan Krieger, surveyed programs to measure their concerns heading into the final months of winter. And the results of that survey and direct feedback from advocates and victim service leaders were all used to help Jenny Allen and Nicole O'Connor build the Morale and Team Building Toolkit we will preview today. The strain of the last 11 months has weighed on many programs across New York, and we're excited to be able to share this new tool with each of you. It's our hope that some of these simple strategies and activities will help your teams build morale, strengthen relationships, and even encourage self-care. Before I turn it over to Jenny Allen to officially lead us through today's presentation, I do want to remind you that as soon as you exit today's webinar, you'll be directed to an evaluation survey. Please take a couple minutes and give us feedback. You'll also get a notification as soon as you exit that you're being redirected to an external site with like a warning triangle. It is safe. It's I think 10 or 11 questions, just real quick, like what did you think, how did it go? We really do use that feedback to implement and improve any future training offerings. You'll also have an opportunity there to notify us if you're interested in receiving more training and follow up on a variety of other training topics. So without further ado, I'm excited to formally welcome Ginny and Alan and take us to the preview of the new toolkit.
All right. Thank you very much, Blake. We're happy to be here. I want to start by talking about the slide we have up now. We have some workshops that are coming up in March. On March 17th, 18th, and 24th, we're going to be offering an opportunity for people to learn how to improve your communication and collaboration in the workplace by learning about the team communication style, TEAM. These communication sessions are different from our traditional webinars, so I wanted to talk about them a little bit. They're going to be actual interactive workshops, and we're going to limit them to 30 people in each session. So we'll be talking to you, but in this, unlike these webinars, you're going to be talking to us, you're going to be talking to each other. Everybody participating in the workshops will have an opportunity to take the team style assessment online before the class, and you'll need to do that if you're going to participate. And then during the workshop, we're going to unpack what the assessment means and how you can incorporate it into your work life. We've done a series of these workshops for VIP teams across the state over the past couple of years, but we wanted to take this opportunity to introduce the model to anyone who was interested or curious, even if your team hasn't done it. We really encourage you to sign up. There's a link for the sign up here on the slide, and Alan is going to put it in the chat right now. So please register, but register for only one session. It's going to be the same workshop. We're doing it 3 times because we are limiting participation. So, sign up for the date that works best for you. We're going to be doing some regular webinars in April and May back to this format, and we'll announce those soon. So stay tuned for more information on those. But now we're going to move on to today's webinar. So as Blake mentioned, over the course of the last year, Alan and I have had an opportunity to talk to leaders and staff from victim assistance programs across the state through our coaching sessions that we're doing and through the trainings and workshops that we've done with a lot of teams. And one thing that we've heard from people was how important it was to keep in mind morale of staff and find ways for people to connect. And we've experienced and heard of lots of great ideas that you all have had for bringing your staff and for bring people together. Even though people aren't working in person, there are ways you can bring people together. So we had this idea to put together a toolkit, a collection of many of these activities that would help leaders and supervisors find activities that could bring their staff members together. So today we're releasing that toolkit and we're previewing it for you here. The webinar will be an introduction to what you'll find in the Morale and Team Building Toolkit. And during the next half hour or 45 minutes, we're going to talk about some great new activities. We're going to talk about the philosophy of why we put the toolkit together and how it might help you and your work with your colleagues. We are going to go over some of the things inside, including tips for facilitating remote meetings, and we'll give you some tips for working individually with staff, even though it's a little different from the toolkit model. So if we click onto the next page, you'll see this is what the table of contents looks like in the toolkit. You can see it's long. We've got more than 66 pages. And today's webinar is to some degree following the table of contents and the toolkit section by section. We're going to start by talking about the rationale for why we put the toolkit together and the best ways for you to use it. We're going to go over who should lead the activities and how to include others in planning and implementing them. And then we're going to give you a few hints or reminders about running virtual meetings. I know we've been doing it for a while, but so Alan has some great ways of, making sure that those meetings are inclusive and are most effective. Then we're going to give you a brief overview of the activities section of the toolkit, including icebreakers, longer activities, some ways to build morale outside of meetings, and finally a closing section. And then Alan will talk a little bit about what else you'll find in the appendix of the toolkit. But first, as we always do, we want to start with a quick poll. And today we have 2 questions for you. First, we want to hear how do you think the crises of the last year have impacted the morale in your agency? A lot, a little, or not at all? And the second question, it has to do with your attitude towards these morale building activities. Give us a sense of how you feel about incorporating them into the workday or outside of the workday. And please be honest with us. We're going to give you about a minute to answer both questions. So think about them and then and answer quickly. Rachel, you can open the poll now if you haven't.
And you may have to scroll down to see the second question.
When we do 30 seconds, it doesn't feel like enough time. And when we do it a minute, it feels like a long time. But all right, 3 seconds left. Get your answers in.
If you're unable to answer, I've gotten a few messages that the browsers are acting up. You can also type into the chat to all panelists, and we'll if there's anything in there, we'll share that as well. So we do want to capture all of your feedback, so do feel free to type that in the chat.
All right, great. So from the response, we can see very few of you have said that the crises over the past year have not had any impact on staff. Almost everybody who answered saw that there has been some impact on staff. For about a little bit more than a quarter of you, that impact has been pretty big. It's great. The crises have really greatly impacted staff morale and reduced morale. For about half of us, it's done, had some impact on staff morale. So it's been a tough year. And so one of the reasons that we've done this toolkit is because of that. We know that for some people, it's highly impacted staff morale. And for some people, it has, even if things aren't dire, morale isn't really low there. It really has impacted people. And I'm happy to see that over half of you think that doing an occasional activity is a legitimate use of work time. About a quarter of you think yes, as long as it's limited. There was at least one person who thought that it shouldn't be done during work time. So we're going to talk about different ways you can incorporate things outside of work time, and maybe we'll convince you that maybe it's worth some time now and again. So thank you very much for everybody for your input. So now we're going to move on to talking a little bit about why we thought we needed to provide this toolkit and why we thought you needed to take a look. Morale and work relationships are a vital part of building effective teams. But both morale and work relationships have really been tested in the past year, as we've just talked about, as we've just seen. As Blake mentioned, and as I mentioned, the toolkit came out of our coaching sessions. We heard that staff were stressed out. Maybe not all of the staff, but a lot of staff were stressed out. And that was leading to low morale. In some cases, it was leading to excessive absenteeism. We all know that there's been a lot of stress that's caused by what's going on in the world, and that causes stress both at work. It's caused stress for our clients. And so that can have a big impact on morale. And as you indicated in the poll, for a quarter of you, that's really reduced morale. And for 3/4, almost all of us, it's had some impact on morale. But the last year has also had an effect on our work relationships. And because so many of us are working from home or in small teams or doing split shifts, work relationships have suffered. We're just not connecting with people the way we used to when we were all in the office together. And many leaders and supervisors have made an effort to build communication with their own teams. There was a study that was done in the initial months after the lockdown. I think it was done in May or June of last year. And they found that employees had increased their communication with close collaborators by 40%. So we really made an effort at the beginning of the pandemic, and maybe continue to make an effort to connect with the people on our team, because we know we're not doing that. But what we're missing right now are the casual relationships we had with people who worked in the same place with us, but aren't on our team. So I've talked with many of you who've not even met some of the new people who joined your agencies after March of last year. You're just not seeing them in the office, so you don't have an opportunity to chat with them and to talk to them. And these casual work relationships that usually are formed when you bump into each other are important. They help us improve coordination. They help collaboration between team members and creativity throughout the agency. And that helps increase organizational performance, innovation, and service quality. So we really don't want to lose these casual relationships that we've kind of been ignoring over the past year. So we brought together these activities to help both improve morale, because we know that's been impacted, but also to build relationships and opportunities for team communication. So the activities like the ones that we're including in the toolkit help improve morale and team effectiveness in a variety of ways. They get people a little bit more excited about work because they're fun, and they increase communication and connections. They offer an opportunity for people to share and to express themselves. They give you an opportunity to practice working together, collaborating and communicating in a low stress setting. So these are fun activities. So you're having opportunity to work with each other, but you're not necessarily working on a big major problem for the organization. So it's a little bit low stress. Team building activities help build relationships between people who don't always work together. As I said, I think that that's important. And when you build those relationships, then you know you can rely on each other. So between departments, among your team, you want to be able to know that you can rely on each other. Many of the activities that we have included give people an opportunity to be creative and to learn new things, and that can be motivating. Because activities give us an opportunity to get to know each other a little bit better, they can make us more accepting and give us some common ground that help us resolve conflict. And then by allowing time for team building and morale activities, you also help employees feel valued, supported, and appreciated. And finally, in a world where it's hard to get to know people and when you're new, these activities provide that platform for new employees to meet people and create new bonds. And for people who have been with the organization for a long time to meet the people who are coming in and create bonds with them and help them feel supported and welcome. We're going to spend most of the webinar talking about how to provide activities for groups. But before we get into that, we thought we'd spend a little bit of time talking about how to use one-on-one time to support staff who are suffering from stress and low morale. So we have a short section in the toolkit about that. This is something we spent some time on during the webinars that we did last spring and summer, especially in our managing, supporting staff remotely webinar that I think we did in April. So if you didn't attend that webinar and you want to hear it or watch it, you can find links to the recordings on the OVS Training Center website. And I want to give you a quick synopsis. First, I want to start by saying that we know that even though many of you supervisors may actually be therapists or counselors, that shouldn't be your role with the people that you supervise. And we also know that you're all very busy and under stress yourselves. But as supervisors, you do have a role to check in with your staff and understand where their current stress levels are and where their morale is. And we think it's important to make time for that. As we say here, a little listening can go a long way. So use a few minutes of your supervision, maybe at the beginning or at the very end, to ask how your staff members are coping. And if you haven't spoken with someone for a while, if you just do, supervision once every 2 weeks, make time for a quick check-in call. But then make sure you're setting limits and boundaries. If you feel like you're moving from your supervisory role into more of a counselor or therapy role, see if you can connect your staff with some outside resources that can help them. Maybe you have access within your agency to an EAP program, or maybe you know of outside resources or counselors that they can get help from. And if you think you have a number of staff members that are becoming isolated, you can set up office buddy systems for coworkers so that they're checking in with each other and providing support and building those connections. And then I want to remind you that you can take advantage of me and Alan too through the TTAR program, the Training and Technical Assistance Request Program. We've provided coaching sessions and workshops to dozens of supervisors and leaders in the past year, helping them to cope with their own stress and supervision issues, and also helping them to build stronger teams. At the end of the webinar, we're going to give you more information about how to contact us with a link to our appointment calendar and more information about the Training and Technical Assistance Request Program. So now I'm going to turn it over to Alan, and he's going to start introducing the toolkit itself. Alan?
Hey, thanks, Jenny. As Jenny mentioned, we developed this toolkit in response to concerns we heard from agency leaders. We also heard concerns that this toolkit could be just one more thing that agency leaders had to do on top of all their other demands. So we want to emphasize that this is a resource to be helpful, not something that adds to your workload. If this is something that you don't have the time or don't have the inclination to take on, Find someone on your staff who loves doing these kinds of activities and delegate the project to them. They may find it to be a joy more than a burden. There's no hard and fast rule about how often to hold these activities. It's a matter of trial and error to see how much your staff wants to engage this way. We think it's important to do these on a somewhat regular basis while you're working remotely, so your staff stay engaged with each other. For many staff, this can also be a way to keep their spirits up during difficult times. You'll get a sense of who really enjoys these activities and how often they would like to have them. So where do you fit these activities into your weekly schedule? It's very easy to add a short opening or closing activity to your existing staff meetings, and in some cases you can add them to your one-on-one supervision sessions. It's important to have time to relax a bit and give your staff a small break from all the stress you deal with daily. In addition, many agencies have held occasional fun activities outside of work hours, after work or over lunch, or even having a breakfast session before work. These, of course, need to be completely optional. The toolkit includes a lot of options to give you maximum flexibility. And Blake had just a little while ago pasted the link to the toolkit in there. If you haven't already accessed it, you can take a look at it. And if you enjoy leading these activities, by all means, take it on yourself. But if you don't, find someone who does. For the right person, leading these activities is fun and not a burden. There are folks you want to be, those are the folks you want to be in charge of these activities. Even if this is not your thing, it's still important that you join in occasionally. Staff need to know that their leaders are human and can have some fun as well. I mentioned that you can delegate this to a staff person who you think might be enthusiastic and interested. Alternatively, one agency formed an activity planning team so that a group of people work together to design these activities, and they schedule and lead them so the burden doesn't fall on any one staff. In addition, a diverse committee will come up with activities that will appeal to diverse interests among your team. One question that comes up a lot is, should everyone participate? Should it be mandatory? It is helpful to group cohesion to have everyone participate, but not everyone enjoys these activities, so they should all be optional. One way to encourage everyone to participate is to include some short icebreakers in staff meetings when everyone is already there. Even then, make it clear that while you encourage participation, everyone has the right to pass and not to participate. This provides an opportunity for everyone to engage without taking away from their personal time or work demands. Then have your planning team or activity leader come up with a range of other opportunities and let the staff choose if they want to participate. Some staff have more interest in having fun and socializing or have a greater need for connection. Other staff may have second jobs or other family obligations that make it difficult for them to engage outside of work. Or they may be introverted and not really enjoy these kinds of activities. So please make it clear that there should be no pressure on anyone to participate. They should be presented as an opportunity for those who wish to participate and be left at that. Another strategy some organizations have used is to encourage drop-in times during the workday for people who need time to connect. You can set up a virtual break room like you might have in a physical office, where people go in to grab something to drink, take a breath, and sit down for a minute and perhaps talk with someone. You could have that in your Zoom system. It won't be anything to drink, but it could be a room where people who need a chance to chat can get away and talk if there's somebody else there, and if they're not, they can have a quiet space to catch their breath for a few minutes before they go back to work. You could also set something like this up during your lunch hour for people to drop in while they're eating their lunch. So people have asked us, what's the best way to set up these kinds of activities? And the answer is there is not one best way. Every agency has a different culture and a different makeup of staff, and you have to find what works best for your own organization. The toolkit we've set up has a huge selection of activities, including suggestion for activities you can work into existing meetings or separate events for people to work together if they wish. Some of these activities came from your colleagues in response to the survey we sent out. Others came from us searching the web or our own experience doing team building and using icebreakers. OVS has set up the VAP Connect site, and if you haven't been there yet, it was established to serve as a platform for people to connect and share ideas and information. So if you have activities that we haven't included in the toolkit yet, please feel free to share them on VAPS Connect. I think someone's going to put the
Yeah,
Yep,
Rachel put
it's in the
the
chat.
right one in. I put the link to the thing, but Rachel has the right one in there.
Okay, it's in the chat box. Good. So if you like to make some connections, that's a great place to go. And if you have ideas around these activities, please share them there as well. And as you schedule these activities in your agency, try to make sure that there's a wide variety to meet a range of needs. If you're doing this through Zoom or some other video platform, encourage people to turn their cameras on. There are a number of issues around this, but being able to see people face to face really helps people connect. And that's what this whole effort is about, building and maintaining connections between people on your staff. And finally, if you're going to have games and activities where someone wins, you might want to have small prizes to spice it up. It could be something as silly as a blue ribbon or a gold star. It could be a simple round of applause, or it could be a small gift card or other small item that makes the game just a little bit more fun. We had a number of comments in our survey that talked about the challenges in running a virtual meeting. So we added a short section in the toolkit with this and some strategies to help you be more effective in running meetings, both work meetings and fun engagement activities. For the business end of things, it's important that you have a specific and timed agenda. Meetings were never popular, and they're even less popular on Zoom. So it's important that you make the most out of them and that they be efficient and effective. You want to make sure that the agenda is relevant to everybody at the meeting, and if some items are not, save them for the end of the meeting and let people leave who are not involved. Another difficult challenge, especially on Zoom, is keeping the discussion balanced. Some people are very comfortable speaking and they speak up frequently. They have strong opinions and want to make them heard. And then there are the other people who may have strong opinions but are quieter and take more time to think through what they're going to say. They sometimes don't get into the conversation at all. So you may want to talk with the people who are active participants and encourage them, after they've given one or two comments on a topic, to refrain from commenting further until everybody else has had a chance to speak. You may also want to talk before the meeting to the people who are quieter and take more time to think, to help them prepare and be ready to participate. If you know a quiet person has a strong opinion, ask them if it would be okay if you called on them during the meeting, because you really want to hear what they have to say. Make a point of monitoring and checking throughout the meeting. Try to see that everyone participates at some point in the conversation and that no one speaks a disproportionate amount of time. One suggestion we make in the toolkit is to have a co-facilitator. One of you can facilitate the agenda and the other can monitor and try to balance participation. As we said earlier, it's important to have people at your meeting feel engaged. And one strategy that can help with that is the breakout group function. Zoom and other platforms give you the ability to put people into small groups. With just 4 or 5 people in a group, they can have more involved conversation and then come back with a short report to summarize the discussion. If needed, you can then facilitate a large group discussion to reach group decision or group consensus. As I mentioned earlier, having a camera on is important to help people feel engaged and connected to the group. This is especially true in small breakout sessions. And finally, taking just a few minutes to do an icebreaker activity at the start of each meeting can set a tone for a more comfortable and engaged session. If your meeting is really large, you could do the icebreaker at the beginning of a breakout group and let them have a little fun in their small group before they get into the business. However you do this, having some kind of light and lively activity during a business meeting with Zoom is really helpful at bringing people together and is even more important when working remotely. In addition to starting the meeting off well, it's crucial to close it effectively. Some of the value of many meetings is lost by a failure to close well. This can include summarizing the key points that were raised, noting any decisions that were made, and reviewing any action steps that are going to take place after the meeting. In the midst of a discussion, people often lose track of these important details. Being able to summarize them at the end can be very helpful to everybody. In addition to a business closing, you can promote overall team cohesion and engagement with other closing activities. We outline these in the toolkit and we'll discuss them in a little while. We'd like to hear from you about what kinds of morale building activities you've been doing at your agency. So we're going to set up another poll. And it lists 5 types of activities: having icebreakers at meetings, having some kind of informal virtual coffee hour or happy hour outside of work, having organized games or other activities after hours, or having organized games and activities during work hours, and possibly opening an informal drop-in meeting during work hours. When the poll opens, please check all the ones you do, even occasionally, and chat in anything else you do that isn't on the list. Please complete the poll first and hit submit, as we'll be closing it in 30 seconds. So Rachel's now going to open the poll. There it is. You got 30 seconds to complete it. And be sure you hit submit. And then if you have other thoughts after you've done that, please type them into the chat to all panelists, and so we can see what you're sharing. Okay, you got 7 seconds. Okay, the poll's closed. We're going to see the results. Have you posted the results, Rachel? Oh, it takes a while. I forgot. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done this. Okay, there we are. Okay, so icebreakers at meetings, quite a few of you used, which is great. It's a nice, easy way to slide these in. Almost 30 people have done either a virtual coffee hour or happy hour after work. And same thing with organized games or activities during work hours. So again, 30 people there, and about the same number do open drop-in meetings. So I don't know if it's the same 30 people doing all these things. If so, congratulations. If it's a different mix of people, that's great. We have a good cross-section on that.
I received a couple private messages that I can speak to. Some people are saying they're not doing any yet, but they're interested in adding them in. One group did an ugly sweater contest at a staff meeting, virtual baby showers with games, sending care packages to staff, and virtual happy hours here and there. This group also starts their weekly staff meeting with an opening question, something that can be silly, like what's your favorite pizza topping? And other people are saying they did them a bit more regularly at the beginning of COVID, but not so much now, as people are burned out by Zoom and nobody wants to join another meeting. Somebody just said they're doing a virtual escape room at their next staff meeting, and that's all I have so far.
Okay, yeah, I have one comment. Someone said that they've added mindfulness activities in, which again can be just giving everybody a chance just to stop and slow down. We're all working hard. There's a lot of stress, a lot of distress, and just taking 30 seconds to meditate at the start of a meeting, or just do a couple of deep breathing, or just take a short walk. Everybody get up in the middle of a meeting and just take a walk wherever you are, around your apartment or house, or outside if the weather's okay, and then come back and just take a moment to see what's going on out in the world before we come back to the workspace here. Okay, someone said we go around and give snaps to each other, like in Legally Blonde 2. Okay, so again, things to do, light and lively, have some fun. And if you haven't done this much yet, we hope the toolkit will help you. And for those of you who feel zoomed out and people are tired of Zoom, I just want to share that different people are different. And while Zoom meetings have gotten old for many people, we've been doing a number of Zoom trainings. People are very engaged and enjoy it. And then there are people who really like socializing and want to connect. So just make the opportunity available. If no one shows up, no cost, no harm done. And if a few people show up, it was good for them. So I'd really encourage you to make these available to your staff. Those who value it, it's important, and they will do it in spite of Zoom fatigue. We had another one, staff baby pictures, and guessing who they were. Everyone talked about Jackbox, an online game platform. There's a cost associated, but it's really fun. Okay, so some good comments. And so we've been talking about this toolkit. Now Jenny is going to actually take us through it to show you an idea of what kind of resources we have in there.
Thanks, Alan. And first I want to say we do, there are great ideas out there. So we have a lot that we're going to talk about that we put in the toolkit, but there are hundreds of ideas, and your colleagues obviously have some really great ideas. So share those on VAP Connect, and look for other ways that, think about the things that sound most interesting to you. And I think Alan's point about the Zoom fatigue is a good one. That February is the longest, shortest month. We're having, it's cold, it's snowy, people can't get outside. And so, we begin to feel a little bit more isolated. And we have, I've talked to so many VAPs that have added staff, a lot of staff over the past year. And so remember that some of those new people are really not connected, and this will help them. So we've talked a bunch now about the why of the toolkit, and the how to do it. But now I really want to talk a little bit more about what is in the toolkit, what is inside. So inside the morale and team building toolkit, you'll find 75 activities over 37 pages. So the whole toolkit is more than 60 pages, but there are 37 pages of activities. And we've broken those activities down into icebreakers, some longer activities, a few other morale building ideas that maybe don't quite fit into the activity category, and finally a section about closings. So I'm going to start with the icebreakers, and I probably don't have to explain to you what icebreakers are. Alan's talked to you a little bit about it. You're probably already doing them occasionally in your team meetings or when you've been part of a retreat. But just in case, I'm going to review what we mean by icebreakers in this toolkit. And these are short activities. Sometimes they may only take 5 minutes, but some of the ones that we have in the toolkit may last up to 15 or 20 minutes. And the idea behind an icebreaker that it's something that starts a meeting as really designed to break the ice and get people talking. A good icebreaker will give you an opportunity to learn something more about each other, or maybe learn what people are thinking about or what their mood is. For groups that don't work together all the time, or who are not seeing each other all the time, an icebreaker will make people a little bit more comfortable with each other. As I said, they're designed to break the ice and get people talking and increase social interaction. It may feel like wasted time in an already packed meetings. I know everybody has lots to cover. We're trying to keep our Zoom meetings, I think, shorter than we used to keep our regular meetings. But if you do build the icebreakers into your agenda, it will give people an opportunity to check in with each other and have those casual conversations that we tend to be missing these days. And then you can also use icebreakers to break the ice before beginning some of the longer activities that I'm going to talk about in the next session. So we have included 20 icebreakers in the toolkit, and they can generally be categorized into these 4 different areas. We have some get to know you icebreakers, games like 10 common things, where as a group you need to find 10 things that you all have in common. We've done that activity with a couple groups over the past couple of weeks, and it's been a lot of fun. Or 2 truths and a lie. I don't know if you've played that one before, but in that icebreaker, everybody goes around and tells 2 true things about themselves and 1 lie, and then the rest of the group has to guess what the lie is. Some of the activities are designed to take the temperature of a group. The emoji check-in is an icebreaker that will help you quickly get a sense of how everybody on your team is feeling, because everyone chooses the emoji that best describes their current mood. And that's a really quick icebreaker. That can be done in less than probably 3 minutes. And then some of the icebreakers will simply take the opportunity to help boost morale. These are the icebreakers like doing a 5-minute meditation that Alan talked about, or sharing the week's victory, or the snap one that somebody just shared in the chat. That's not in the toolkit, but it's the same idea. It's just an opportunity to boost morale, to get people feeling good about each other. And then finally, there are icebreakers in which the sole purpose is really to get people talking and laughing. There's an icebreaker draw that asks everybody to draw a picture from the same line or squiggle, and then share that drawing with the group through cameras and the chat. Or chair up is an icebreaker that has everyone getting up and out of their chair and doing something every time somebody calls chair up in the meeting. These are silly games that will create laughter and build relationships through fun. As I mentioned, icebreakers should only take about 15 or 20 minutes. However, sometimes we have big teams and we have big team meetings. There will be 15 or 20 people in the meeting. And if you ask everyone to go around and tell 2 truths and a lie on a 20-person call, then that's going to take over an hour. Trust me, I've done it. It's a long activity with a big group. It's a lot of fun, but it's a long activity. So you want to be mindful of the length of the icebreaker and the number of people that you have in your meeting. pick shorter icebreakers for large groups, or as Alan mentioned, consider breaking people into smaller breakout groups to do the icebreaker, and then coming back together. So you don't have to always do an icebreaker with all 20 people. You can do small icebreakers with 4 or 5 people in breakout groups. The next section in the toolkit is the activities section. These activities are longer than the icebreakers, and they range somewhere from 30 to 90 minutes. For the most part, you'll probably schedule these on their own because they'll constitute the entire meeting or the entire get-together. The activity is the reason for everybody coming together. The activities here are designed to build communication by doing something that's not directly related to work. They help create opportunities for staff to connect in a casual and fun way. And though not all the activities are designed this way, some of the activities will build creative thinking and problem-solving skills because they're just that. They're opportunities for the group to come together and solve a problem. And then once you start communicating about and had some fun during these activities and solved some problems, then they will have succeeded in increasing social interaction and building or strengthening your work relationships. So for each activity in the activities section, we've tried to include the length that we think the activity will take to complete so you can schedule appropriately. We have mostly included free activities in the toolkit, but some of them do have a cost, and so we've listed that for your consideration. Some of the activities that we've included here take more effort from participants, either involvement or brain power or sometimes creativity. So we've tried to estimate that for you. And then we've tried to provide very specific directions for how to implement the activities. And when we haven't done that, we've occasionally provided links where you can find more information or direction because it's an activity that we found on the web, and so we wanted just to share that direct link with you. So what are the different types of activities that we've included? Some of them are opportunities to bring people together so they can learn something new. We've provided links and directions so that you can tour museums or you can tour cities. Because we have such diverse staff members at all the victim assistance programs, you may be surprised at some of the expertise that you have in-house. And so there are instructions on how you can encourage staff to lead their own activities and teach or demonstrate for their colleagues and coworkers something new. Maybe they know yoga or a martial art that they can demonstrate, or they can teach people to knit, or they can teach people how to bake bread. So take advantage of what you have within your own staff and have them lead and teach people new things. And that will build more knowledge about them too. There are a group of problem-solving games, and these require a little bit more involvement and effort from your participants. So your staff members can come together and try and figure out how to survive on a desert island. We do have instructions for how to participate in a virtual escape room. Somebody talked about they're doing it at a staff meeting this week. So if that sounded interesting to you, you can find out more about doing that in the toolkit. We've provided links for group games. So just getting together for group games like Pictionary or charades or trivia can be a fun way to bring people together. And we've given you some ideas for activities that can bring people together to be creative, like virtual paint and sip or creating a team or program picture collage. And finally, we've included some activities that develop team skills and provide an opportunity for staff development. So they don't always have to be just about fun. There's a description of how you can introduce your team to the Clifton Strengths program that one of our agencies has been doing with their staff, or how to lead town hall meetings on subjects that are important to your staff or to your program. There are more than 30 activity descriptions in the toolkit, and some of the activities have 8 or 10 ideas within them. So we do hope that you'll find activities that appeal to a wide variety of staff members. And so you might want to consider trying a bunch of different types of activities to see what's most popular, what attracts the most attention, what appeals to the different personalities on your staff. During the research for the toolkit, we spoke with leaders from victim service programs across the state. Blake told you a little bit about that at the beginning, and we did get a lot of really great ideas. Some of those I've just mentioned when I was talking about activities, but some of them didn't actually really fit into the activity category. But we did want to include them because we thought they were great ways to boost morale. So in the toolkit, we've included information about how to do a weekly email to spread news about what's going on with staff. Those personal things about new house and new babies that you used to hear in the lunchroom or on the elevator or near the water cooler. They're important. They create connections, but we're maybe not getting that information anymore. We provide information about creating a pandemic relief fund to provide small tax-free cash grants to staff to offset some of the costs that have been a result of the pandemic. And we also included an idea for providing staff with a 2-week sabbatical from their on-call responsibilities. I know a lot of people out there have staff who are on call over the weekends or in the evenings, and that, and give this is a way to give them a break from that. These were all ideas that were provided by programs or leaders in the OVS network, and then we thought that they might spark similar ideas in your own programs. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Alan, and he's going to finish off the toolkit and the program.
Okay, thanks, Jenny. Jenny's gone through the bulk of the toolkit, which, as she said, includes a wide variety of activities you can use to keep your team engaged. The final part of the toolkit we have addresses ways to close your meeting to maximize the benefit of the meeting, and several appendices with additional resources. I mentioned earlier that a good closing is key to maximizing the benefit of a meeting. In addition to summarizing a meeting, as I described earlier, a closing activity can be something that checks for understanding, where people say what they're taking away from a meeting or what they're going to do about it. It can also be as simple as people saying one thing they've learned or something they liked about what they heard. It can also be a way to firm up next steps as people state what they're planning to do, and everyone can review their assignments and follow up actions as what they're planning. This leaves everybody with more clarity and a positive tone in relation to the business of the meeting. The closing can also be used to build team support, including things like affirmations or appreciations or kudos for what people have contributed during the meeting or during the week. It can also include offers of support for what people can do to help those who have taken on assignments at the meeting. And finally, just like an icebreaker at the start of a meeting, a closing activity can be a fun energizer to get everybody's spirits up and ready to move on to whatever is next in their day. This can be adapted from many of the icebreakers in the toolkit, such as people sharing something fun they're going to do in the next week, or something from the meeting that made them smile, or for everyone to go around and share a recent success they had at work, or even outside of work. The toolkit lists a number of ideas about creative ways to close meetings. These are very short activities that can help wrap up the meeting in a positive way. In an in-person meeting, they can be a quick whip around the room where everyone shares something very briefly. With a video-based meeting, you also have the alternative of people chatting into the chat box, which is a much faster way to get a lot of information out very quickly. But wait, there's more. In addition to all these great activities, in the back of the toolkit are several appendices with additional information. There's more information about the Training and Technical Assistance Request Program under which this toolkit was developed. It tells you how you can tap Jenny or me to provide additional consulting or training on a wide range of topics, including leadership, team building, and meeting facilitation. This project ends in September, so if you want to work with us, you should call us soon. The toolkit also has information about the major video conferencing platforms that are available, and information about other apps that might help with connections and communication among your staff. There are also additional resources for some of the games, some handouts that Nicole has already put together that might make these games a little bit easier to use. And finally, we've included a summary of the results of the survey we sent out and what your colleagues said related to this project. And speaking of your colleagues, here's a list of a few who took the time to respond to our survey and have a follow-up telephone call with us. We really appreciate their input. They shared suggestions, and these activities are now found in the toolkit. And here's a link to the OVS Training and Technical Assistance Program website. It has more information about our services and how you can request them at no charge to your agency. And here are some ideas about the kinds of projects we could help you with that relate to morale and team building. They could include helping you design or facilitate staff retreats on a wide range of topics. We can also consult with you on ways to strengthen or rebuild your team, and we can provide training for your agency's leadership team on strategies for team building. So this brings us to the end of our presentation. Blake is going to wrap things up, but then we're going to stay on to answer your questions and learn from your comments. So if you have any questions or any suggestions you want to add, please start typing them into the chat box. You can also feel free to email Jenny or me, and our addresses are on the slide. Please chat in to all presenters if you can, so we can all see it. You can also set up a call to talk about possible projects you have in mind using the Calendly link on the website. And Jenny is going to, she already did, put that in the chat box. Yep. So it's all set. So Blake, you want to wrap us up, and then we'll do questions and answers.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you to both Jenny Allen and wonderful Nicole, who helped create this amazing toolkit. A couple times today in the chat, we've actually linked the toolkit, and I just did it again with some of the other things that we've talked about. Take a look at it if you have a chance to. Please, you guys, they put some tremendous work into this, and we hope that at the very least you'll be able to take one or two things out of there and take back to your own programs and utilize. So I want to formally thank Jenny and Alan for their time today, for putting together today's presentation and webinar, but also for really putting the time and energy to invest into this, what we think is going to be a tremendous resource for you guys. We did record today's webinar. We'll put that up online as well once it's published on our YouTube channel. So we'll share a link with everyone as well. And the last thing I want to remind everyone about is the survey for today's webinar. Please take a couple minutes and just provide your thoughts and feedback on how things went, and any other thoughts or feedback you might have for us to be taken into consideration for future training offerings. So thank you. We do still have some time, so we'll keep an eye on the chat, and please type in if you have any other thoughts or questions, and the collective group here can help monitor it.
And if you one question came in. What are some examples or activities which haven't been mentioned that are encouraged for leaders to involve in their supervision? So we do have a section in the toolkit about one-on-one, how to work effectively with people. And I think the most important thing I would say from all the coaching we've done with leaders is there's a lot of staff people who are very distressed because of what's going on in the world. Families having illness or other impact in other ways. People who are isolated, as Jenny said, February is the longest short month of the year. And it's, people are isolated again. Vaccinations are out, and many of your staff have gotten them, but other people haven't. And it's cold, and it's been a long winter in so many ways. So I think just taking a few minutes in your supervision to just check in personally and really, look the person in the eye, ask them how they're doing, and really mean it, and take time to listen, as opposed to typically, hi, how you doing? Let's get on to supervision. But stop and really listen. Read your people, see what their actions are, and if anyone who was a good performer is not performing as well, chances are something major is going on with them. And if you could take a few minutes to find that out. Again, as Jenny said, you're not their counselor or therapist, but a chance to just check in person to person. And if they are having some kind of concern, help refer them to somewhere they can get the support they need. Offering people time off or flex time. If the kids are in school, now they're out of school, then they're back in school, so when kids are home, it's really hard for people to work. Can they work into the evening instead, or work early morning? But, are there ways you can adapt? So I think it's not so much an activity as really an engagement with your staff. Jenny, anything else you want to add?
Well, I mean, I think, part of it, we didn't spend a lot of time in the toolkit talking about one-on-one supervision. As we said, we gave some hints there. But I guess the other thing you do is just make sure that they're connecting with other staff members. So you're providing those opportunities. So it doesn't always have to be just you with the people you supervise. So how are other team members connecting? Can you create some? We talked about this in one of the other webinars. Opportunities for maybe people to pair up and work on something. So it's not always either one-on-one with you or the team meeting as a whole, but two people working on something, so they're having some of those conversations. I think that's good. And then with the time, the other thing that I have even found useful when I'm talking to people in coaching is make sure you're having conversations about how are they balancing their time. Are they at work when they're at work and off, and are they taking time off? How do they transition in and out of the office? Because since we're home now, some people are working all of the time, and some people are having a hard time cutting the workday off, and so that can add to morale as well.
Okay, and someone chatted in that they couldn't have the annual holiday luncheon together, so they sent all staff a letter wishing them happy holidays, thanking them for their dedicated work, and enclosed a gift card for a local bakery, which was the cost of the per person lunch. So you had it budgeted, you were going to do it, and that's a really nice way to share with folks. And again, holidays are past, but it still is winter, and just celebrating that we made it this far can be a good excuse to have a little gathering, get together, and send people a little treat. One person, which may be in the toolkit, said that they actually sent food, little food packages to people in lieu of a holiday gathering. So.
Somebody asked us about possible grant funding for morale or activities similar to what we covered today. And I would encourage you, just reach out to your contract management specialist with OVS if you have any questions specifically related to the allowability of certain costs with your grant. However, the Training Technical Assistance Request Program could bring Jenny and Alan to you guys at no cost to enhance training and do similar things to help build up some of your staff's morale. So please take advantage of that while you can.
And think about using your own wish lists, or I know when I talked a little bit about the pandemic relief fund that I heard of from one of the OVS agencies, but then there is information about it on the internet, and that may be something that you can get a small local grant for, or a small business to underwrite, and so especially around issues of food, which I know has not been allowable under the FOCA, right? So that's the one thing I know is that the food. So finding somebody who might come in and support something small like that is a good way for people in the community to support your programs.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make a brief comment in addition to the TARP information that Blake was sharing. Please use it. We did mention that this ends in September. That does not mean that we recommend you sending in a request on September 1st. Jenny and Alan are just two people. They are very busy, and the sooner you get your requests in, the more availability you'll have to really craft something that is completely bespoke to your team. So if you know that you might want to do something in the summer, think about it, give them a call, submit your request now. You can schedule ahead for those sorts of things. I would not wait until August, September if you're looking for some sort of very in-depth training or things of that nature.
Right. What we found the last go when we piloted this program is that we were fully booked for September. It was a shorter program, but so that already we have September dates that are booking up. So if you know that you want to do a program in September, schedule it now, because if you wait until July or August, all our September days may be gone.
Real quick, it's as simple as filling out a 5-question SurveyMonkey request that comes to us that then goes through a few layers of approval. But there are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of free training available to programs that is still left on the table. So please, it really is as simple as responding to a survey and indicating what you're interested in. Jenny and Alan do some follow-up with you, and you're off to the races. So please don't feel like it's this daunting grant application you have to fill out to get free training. That's not the case at all.
I just sent through the link again, not to belabor this. We cannot belabor it enough. They really can craft something bespoke to you, whether it's about this, or you have a new manager who's looking for some coaching, or you're having trouble handling X, Y, or Z. There's really, I think there's like 40 things in the catalog that they can help you with. And I know Jenny and Alan will take any of those and form them to your specific team. And we really, really, really recommend it. They're great.
Yeah, somebody asked if we're going to get the toolkit, and Jenny just put the link again. It's online. It's a PDF, beautifully done by Nicole O'Connor. And yeah, I encourage you to download it, take a look at it. And, Blake said the application is the easiest application I've ever seen to get our services. It's really, really simple. And even simpler than that, I just put the Calendly link in. You can schedule a call with me and Jenny with not even knowing exactly what you want and not doing an application, just call us, set up the call. We'll talk to you. Together, we'll work out something that makes sense for you, that's within the scope of our services. And then you fill out the application. It becomes very simple.
Somebody had a question about if TARP is available to employees outside of, or employees who may not work or be a full-time equivalent on the OVS grant. And the answer to that is yes, as long as you're an OVS funded organization and you're choosing something that's local allowable, we 100% would support training staff beyond just who are funded by OVS.
It does need to include the OVS staff, but yeah, if you want to bring your colleagues in who work with you, but aren't OVS funded, yeah, we've done that in other organizations.
Mm-hmm.
We'll also make sure, because we have gotten some questions about the toolkit, when we send out, we'll send out in a day or so, probably 2 days, just a confirmation that you guys attended, that you can save for your records. They'll have a link to the video for this, but we'll also include the toolkit and the TARP link in that email, just so that you don't feel like you have to jot it down during this meeting. We'll send something to you within a few days with that information as well.
Yeah, I mean, you actually can click on the link right now in the chat box, any of those links that'll open the windows, and you can deal with them later if you want, but click on them and open them while the chat is live. Okay, any other questions or other suggestions? And you can copy and paste them also. Okay, so copy and paste them and you can grab them when you have time.
I did share a link earlier on VAP Connect. We created a link or a conversation thread about holiday gatherings during COVID, when we were hoping that, you know, that would be sort of the last thing we'd have to worry about in these distant times. But there are some recommendations there about how people were having celebrations remotely. That would be a great place to add on icebreakers, meeting things right onto that conversation, so that we can create a really robust thread. That would be a great spot to do it. And I will send that link through again in just a moment.
Okay, we've gotten a number of thank yous, and you're very welcome. We're happy to provide this. It's been something that's been weighing on me, you know, ever since I've started coaching with people and just hearing, you know, starting last winter, it was the end of the winter, and people were obviously very distressed with the new pandemic, and then summer got a little lighter, and as we headed into fall, I began to dread the winter and what that would do. So that was the genesis for this toolkit, and we hope you will put it to use to help us help you and your team through the end of the winter, because it's been a very long year, very long year. Okay, we'll keep it open for another minute or so, see if any last questions or comments. Otherwise, we'll wrap things up.
Thank you, everyone, for joining today. We appreciate it. If you have to sign up, feel free to do so. And again, please complete your survey evaluation on today's training, and stay tuned for more updates from OVS training. We'll be happy to share some more webinars that are coming soon.
And somebody did just comment that they found it helpful for the pandemic and beyond. And so what I will say is we did put this together for the pandemic. We are all about, you know, continue to build, you know, someday, hopefully we will all be back in the office. That doesn't mean that we can just let go of this idea of, you know, building staff connections and building communication and building problem solving. It's still important. So yes, so you could, you know, there are a lot of great resources that we can use for remote meetings, but a lot of these things started as in-person activities, and we can transition them back. And we, you know, and who knows what the workforce will look like. And there are a lot of OVS programs out there that are multiple site. We've worked with a bunch of people who have, you know, programs that have, you know, staff at 3 different locations or across the state. And so, you know, we will still, you know, we will be doing things remotely probably for a long time. So.
Really quick, we just had somebody ask about the survey. So when you go to close this out, you'll get one of those external site pop-ups that will drive you to the survey. If you don't see it from there or you accidentally exit out, we will be following up tomorrow with a thank you for attending and a reminder to complete that survey. It takes about 2 minutes. It is very important to help us continue to craft trainings that work for you guys and also help us improve on what we're doing already. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining us.